What up everyone, it's your ManXman87 here, bringing you another Mafex video, and what I have for you today is the Mafex Batman Hush Huntress action figure review. Before we get into everything, if you could please leave a thumbs up, like rating on the video, it'll help show your support for my channel and I greatly appreciate it. Now with that said, let's go! The first appearance of Helena Bertinelli was in Huntress issue number 1 in 1989, and her creators were Joey Cavalieri and Joe Stanton, whom had worked on the Helena Wayne version previously, which was the daughter of Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle. Helena Bertinelli, born into one of Gotham's mafia families, became a spy and vigilante, killing those that murdered her family. As a key member of the Birds of Prey, she has moved towards brutal but non-lethal methods for fighting crime. Going over Huntress in the Batman Hush storyline, she saves an immobilized Batman's life from a criminal gang when he suffers a fractured skull from a fall after his bat rope is cut over Crime Alley. Batman praises Huntress by saying how she is so much like he was when he first started out, and she's better than she knows. Huntress continues her side feud with Scarecrow. She eventually returns with a new costume and equipment, the money for which was given by Tommy Elliott, aka Hush. She fights Catwoman, thinking her to be her old self and wants to be more like the Dark Knight. For powers and abilities, Huntress is a hand-to-hand, armed and unarmed combatant. She is an above-average athlete and is an exceptional hand-to-hand combatant possessing the skills to defeat large groups of enemies. Helena was trained at an early age by her cousin and later by Richard Dragon for a short period. She is also an expert in many forms of weaponry, including some firearms. Huntress is a weapons master. Helena is generally depicted as relying on her iconic crossbow for ranged attacks and her own bow staff for closer and mid-range fighting. At times in the past, she has used a carbon dioxide-fed crossbow as opposed to a manually cocked one. Despite the reliance on the crossbow or bow staff, she has also been shown to keep her knives on her body, some of which are spring-loaded. She also employs many of the same devices as the rest of the Gotham heroes, including grappling hooks and climbing lines. If you want a good reading recommendation for Huntress's origin, then read Huntress Year 1. I enjoyed that book. Or for your viewing pleasure, the Justice League Unlimited animated series did a great job portraying the character and explaining her origin. Alright, I can't express how thrilled I am in getting a Huntress action figure. Not just an action figure, but a high-end action figure of Huntress in an import style. Because the one that Mattel made years back in the DC Universe Classic Signature Series, whatever it was called, it did not do for me. The face sculpt was not there at all. This right here is pretty much everything I wanted in a Huntress action figure. Pretty much. Few things missing, we'll get to that. But I had to show some love for my girl, giving her a story segment, because she is, next to Harley Quinn and Wonder Woman, my favorite female DC character. Probably in my top 5, definitely top 10 for sure. Stoked to do this. I don't cover many DC figures on my channel because it's Marvel heavy, but don't get it twisted. Your mans is a big DC Comics fan. Now, I don't want to start a flame war between Marvel and DC, but I do think DC has the better female characters, and that's just my humbled opinion. I don't choose one over the other. I love them both the same, and I am a comic book fan first and foremost. So Huntress is such a badass character. Again, anytime I see those B, C level characters getting high-end treatment like this, as a comic book fan, it is so rewarding, and we're just winning. Anyway, you guys are probably tired of hearing me talk. Let's get straight into the figure. If there's one thing I gotta say about Mafex is that they know how to capture Jim Lee's artwork in figure form. Wow, look at this. From the eyes to the lips, that mask came out really nice. Even her cross-shaped earrings, that's beautiful in a metallic gold paint. She's got that nice stringy hair flowing over the mask right here, so that's nice. And then it just flows nicely on the back. Look at those curls at the bottom. That's nice. Now, there is one thing that annoys me with this figure is the neck right here. The white line kind of always stays slanted. And that's just trying to shift her neck in a vanilla pose, trying to get it straight. I just feel like it never ends up being straight. It just keeps slanting off to the side. And that's kind of annoying too, because I feel like it throws the design of the costume off a bit, you know? I want it centered, and it usually never stays centered. I try to turn her head, You know, it just keeps fighting with me, and that's really annoying. And that's the best I could do. Standing her in vanilla pose, it'll throw it off a bit, but if it doesn't bother you, you know, no biggie. It's just a me thing. And I like the crescents there in the nice gold, holding the cape. That's really nice, man. It just pops. This is my favorite Huntress costume design. Don't get me wrong, I love the classic one, but Jim Lee all day and all the other artists that captured this costume in their artwork, like Ed Beans and such. Man, this is just dope. And I always loved the stomach exposed. Always gave her this nice sex appeal. Her costume is unique, man. You know, you're not going to see another character that dresses just like this. So that's what I like to see. It's just beautiful. Look at the pouches around her arms and the elbow pads. It's just beautifully sculpted. The forearm guards, her gloves. It's just so nice. You got this, she's got a nice mixture of pink and purple. You get this pink utility belt. And you get some gold painted. I also love that she wears purple. Purple's one of my favorite colors. Yeah, don't judge me. And so there's some comic inaccuracy here because in the comics, she's supposed to be double cheeked up. And they gave her shorts basically right here. And yeah, I don't understand why they did that. I mean, damn, I know DC has a no gun rule, but don't tell me they have a no cheek rule too. So yeah, I'm gonna have to deduct a point for comic inaccuracy. I know there's a thigh swivel right here, like the domestic style, which cuts right there, which you wouldn't even notice at first glance because it's perfectly cut. But man, they could have just kept it comic accurate, eliminate the short style, and if they wanted to, just, you know, have a cut between the boots. There's enough cuts here. They could have given her a calf swivel right there, but it is what it is. Normally their thigh swivel is right at the hip joint right here, so she has like a double thigh swivel. Her legs came out pretty nice. Would have liked if they were a little bit more curvier on the thighs. Could look a little narrow looking when looking straight ahead, but you know, you get some angles in there with some poses and it'll be good. You got some pouches right there on her thigh straps. You got the black right there, and then the boots, the knee pads. Nice design, man. You got the buckles, straps on the side. Her boots came out so comic accurate, I will say that. Look at these things. Look at the details. That looks good. You know, even on the bottom right there, the treads. So that is very comic accurate with that square right there, right above her heel. So that's really nice. Then lastly, her cape. It just looks so beautiful. I love this white stripe. I pointed out the crescents right there, holding the cape. But I love the white stripe right there. And it's a posable wired cape, you know, like Mafex does. Nothing beats a posable cape for me, man. This is just so nice. It has an impressive span, too. So depending how dynamic you want to go with the posing, you got this much cape span to play with. Now for accessories, she comes with an alternate head that has an angrier expression. And I like the fact that they kept her bangs flowing over the front of the mask. And then the rest of her hair is flowing off to the side, and that looks so good. Yeah, this is my favorite head sculpt out of the two. For alternate hands, she has a pair of relaxed hands, a set of stylized action hands, gripping hands for her bow staff, and these are stylized gripping hands for her bow staff as well. And lastly, here is her bow staff, and I gotta say, it's a bit undersized. It's a nice sculpt, but it should be a little bit longer. And that's it for weapons. She does not come with her iconic crossbow. I don't understand why it wasn't included. I mean, she had it in the comic. I don't see how Warner Brothers' no gun rule would apply here. I mean, it's a crossbow, unless it's like supposed to be non-lethal weapons and stuff like that, which, you know, a crossbow can be seen as lethal, but whatever. I don't know, man. I really don't know. I'm not going to act like an expert, but they've been doing some dumb stuff. I'm just saying, you don't allow your figures to have guns, yet McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse King Shark come with blood and freaking ripped up limbs, you know, with some gory features there. I'm just saying, blood promotes more violence on an action figure than a gun. So I think they look like hypocrites there. Anyways, I'll try to find a crossbow for her. I think the best fit would be the DC Signature Series Huntress figure because she just doesn't look right without her crossbow. How can it not be featured in this figure? That's her most iconic weapon. Let's go over articulation for Huntress. And so her head can only move about that far up. It's not even up. It's kind of like straight. But the other head that has the flowing hair can move a little bit further up, but that's about it. Not much. So unfortunately, she's not going to look that far up for a character that should be mobile in every part of her body. So that is kind of annoying. She does turn left, right. She does have that head tilt side to side and kind of rock around. Now, unfortunately, her arms are only going to move about that far out. And that's sad for an agile character. Not even a straight T pose. So, if you want to get those high arm poses, you're just going to have to, finagle it, do a workaround where you just rotate the arm, get the bicep swivel. The good thing is that she has a cape, so you can hide those awkward looking joints. So that's just a workaround. Then you have her butterfly joint that moves in that far and out that much. She's got a bicep swivel. She has a double jointed elbow that only works as a single joint, which is pathetic. When you're paying a premium price for $90 plus on an import figure, the whole figure should freaking bend like a damn contortionist. Wrist swivel, ball jointed wrists, that's multi-directional. And that's another thing. This hand, for some reason, pops off a lot. So, double diaphragm joint, so she could bend over a pretty good amount. And she could bend about that far back. So, not so bad. And the cape is in the way, so just want you to see that range. She can move side to side pretty nicely. So, look at that. Nice shifting there. And you got the nice rocker. Drop down legs, which is not so much on this figure. It's very light. It's there, but it's just minimal. And then you have her legs that spread that far apart for a full split. That's very important for this character. You could rock them around. You got 2 thigh swivels, so one at the upper hip and then right there at the thigh. And then you have her legs that kick about that far up. And you can move it out a little bit more, so that's pretty good. And she could kick about that far back. Whoops, that just happened. What the hell? Oh man. Alright, this came off, so I'm gonna have to crazy glue it back on. Alright, that's a bummer. But it's not a big deal. I could crazy glue it, but still kind of sucks that happened. But you get a full frontward split with her, so, she's pretty articulate at the legs, man. She's not limited. That's the good thing about it. Double jointed knees, no heel to the Huntress butt. Ooh, I feel like the anatomy is a little bit off there because this lower leg looks a little bit larger than her thigh. Then her ankles move up that far. They move down that low. She has an ankle swivel and an ankle pivot and a toe joint. Now to compare her next to some other Mafex figures from their Batman Hush line, we have Huntress next to Catwoman. Here is Huntress next to the main man of the story, Thomas Elliot, aka Hush. Here is Huntress next to some other villains, Joker and Harley Quinn. Lastly, here is Huntress next to the GOAT! The GOAT! Batman! Blue version. And now to wrap things up, my final rating is an 8 out of 10. Despite some limitations in the articulation, there are a few workarounds to your advantage for dynamic posing. I had to deduct some points for a comic inaccuracy and the lower leg proportions, but overall, it's a really well done sculpt. I love all the little intricate details brimming throughout. She's got some acceptable accessories, but not including her iconic crossbow is criminal. I would have gotten more photos in with her as that would add more play value. Although the play value is already high, the exclusion sets it back a bit. Mafex is doing their damn thing. This is where I get my DC fix. While McFarlane Toys does some great work with his DC Multiverse line, a lot of his stuff feels like misses more than hits in character selection and execution on proportions. Multiverse is lacking in the female department as well, since we all know Todd is not big on female figures, and I think Mafex makes the best female figures in my opinion, unless there's another company you can think of, but I can't think of another. Hope to see Mafex continue in making more comic female figures, because I'll act a fool if they make a classic Shayera Hall Hawkgirl. Also, Mafex to me makes the best comic book action figures out there, period. Mafex, it's really pronounced Mafex, so Mafex had an easy job to make this the definitive 6-inch Huntress action figure, and they did just that. I'm finally happy to have a definitive Huntress figure, being one of my favorite female characters of all time. She's a 2023 top 10 contender for me, and she looks bound to make my list. Now I kick it back to you. What do you think of this Huntress figure? What character from the Batman mythos would you like to see Mafex tackle next? I think it's time for a definitive Talia al Ghul figure. Comment below, let me know, we'll chat about it. That was my review. Please follow me on Instagram if you haven't already at xmanny87. Hit the notification bell so you always know when my latest videos are up. Share and subscribe if you're new. See you on the next review. Peace, peace.